Good morning, guys. Today is Thursday, February 13th, and we are entering our fourth session of the week. Been an up and down, but productive week in terms of the amount of hours that we were able to play. So yesterday we played a little bit over 13 hours and won a little bit over $3,000. So we got our losses from the previous day, and now we got a lot of cheese, and we still got half of the month left. So should be a good month. Let's jump into the hand history because this is actually a weird spot and partly my fault, but the ruling was not what I would have ruled if it was my rule, I guess. So let's set up the hand. I am under the gun. I have about $3,500, and then we have middle position 2. For sure, the fish on the table, big fish, like that nobody else has even come close. So we'll call him the tuna. Tuna has $700, and then in the big blind is you could say a regular, but I would say regfish. But I don't want to call it regfish because you might watch this and see it. If you are, then I apologize. But every time he loses a hand, if he was ever ahead, you can see he tilts, then kind of gets his card and want to rip it up and just feel like he wants to reach over and choke somebody. So we'll call him the choker. So choker has $1,600 in the big blind. So the play is I'm the first to act, and I look down and I have 4 club, 3 club, and I chose to limp early position. This goes against pretty much probably everything that anybody ever teaches you about poker. A weekend like this, limping and playing out of position. But the reason is that this hand plays well versus a raise against bad players because they don't raise these low cards range. So the only concern is being dominated by flushes. But then like everybody at the table, like there was nobody that I was even concerned about that would exploit me. Like if you were a good player, you would know why I limp. It's because I'm trying to get into pots with the tuna. So and anything that's decent I'm playing. So I limp, and then one other thing is that this kind of hand, if an ace hits on the flop, it could really make me a strong hand, and it could give somebody big ace where I could get a lot of value out of them. So I limp, and then tuna raises to 20, weak raise, right? Relatively given that one limp, and then choker calls. So of course I just complete the call. And then so the pot is $60, and the flop comes ace of heart, 4 of hearts, and 5 of spade. So it gives me the bottom pair with the gut shot, non-heart. And then tuna bets 25, and choker calls. So this, of course, because of I could hit a 4 or a 3. If it hits a heart, I could make a play at it depending on the bet sizing and everything. For example, if tuna bets small and choker calls, then I could probably check raise, squeeze, knowing that choker probably has a weak calling range and tuna is probably betting anything that he wants. No clue what he's betting because he just randomly bets if everybody shows weakness. That was another one. That was another pattern I picked up right away. Is that anytime you show weakness twice to him, he'll bet at it big with nothing. Doesn't matter. No equity. Just any sign of weakness he'll bet. So that was why I also limp because I was out of position. It allows me to show weakness. So when he bets and everybody calls, so the pot's now 135, and the turn comes the 3 of hearts, completes the hearts, and completes my straight. So I check, and it gets checked through. So, but let's discuss what if somebody did bet, right? Well, let's say what if Choker did bet? Well, if he bets on the larger side, I guess well, regardless of what anybody bets, I'll probably just call because I want to keep my deception, right? Like if I raise here with the straight, well, if I get played back, then I'm at most chopping, luckily chopping against a flush. So if I call here, I could look like I'm still on a flush draw. I could look like I have just an ace with the bad flush. So it keeps my range a lot wider and deceptive. So if anybody were to bet, I would probably call. But if Tuna were to bet and Choker fold, I would probably raise Tuna because I'm going for value here against Tuna. I'm not leaving any value on the table. If he got it, he got it. So, but it's checked through, and the river comes the 3 of diamond now, pairs the board. So I'm not concerned with this 3 really because anybody who I guess had any 2 pair or any kind of set would have probably let me know by then, and the only thing we have to worry about is maybe a 4-3, 5-3, ace-3 that was checking to pot control because of the straight and the flush. But if I were to know Tuna, he's still betting. So if he has a 2 pair, he's still betting. Doesn't matter flushes up there, doesn't matter straight. So then the only person that we have to be concerned with that could have a boat here is Choker. So I check, and then Tuna bets at 100, just like I expected. And then Choker calls. So when Choker calls here, we could put him on a pretty much a range of just an ace, probably a strong ace. So, and then it comes to me. So then I bet 250. But I forgot to remind this. When Choker calls, he throws down 1 red chip. So I asked the dealer, is that a raise or is that all in or call? And the dealer goes, that's just a call. So I go, okay. Then I raise 250. And then Tuna folds, and Choker starts going in the tank and looks down, and he pulls that red chip back, and he slides $100 worth of red chip forward. So then, this is what my fault is. I assumed that was a call, so I flipped over my cards, and he goes, I haven't called yet. I was just correcting the pot. So, and this is where I've never seen this happen before. So I tell I told the floor, like, just come over and make the ruling. And people start talking. I don't know what the ruling is. I say, tell the floor, whatever it is the ruling is, just go with it. So the floor goes, I can't make him call. It's still his action. So then he goes into the tank. Like, he saw my card. He goes into the tank, but then he's like, and then of course, I was thinking, if you shove here, you get snapped off, buddy, because you can't rep anything here, and now that you just trying to steal the pot, it's just gonna be bad karma if you do. But then he ends up folding, and then he said I was gonna fold anyway. I go, well, if you're gonna fold anyway, why did you go in the tank for? Like, I believe you if you had just folded when the dealer said it to you, but you saw my card and you go into the tank. Like, you're trying to re-steal this pot. So it's hard for me to believe that you would have folded if you didn't fold it, but you went to the tank. But it was so of course he folded and I won the pot. It was my ruling, I would have made him call, because this type of play sets up for so much angle shooting in big pots where I could throw in, somebody goes all in multiple, I could just throw in a chip, and it could fold out all the other players who think I went all in, and then the guy who went all in could then just show his card, and then I go, no, that's just a call, right? So then it pushes out a lot of people that assume that it's a raise because it gets loud sometimes. And then the caller who assumes it's a raise all in, we flip over his cards. So I would never. I don't. It's a tough ruling. I don't know how. I don't know what the actual rule is this because technically he is right because he is just correcting the pot. So it was my fault for prematurely flipping over the hand, but that one chip pull back and slide forward is such deception. So very elusive or tricky that is. I would not allow that kind of play to continue to exist. So that was the hand history of the day. Let's should try to add in some more cheese for today. Have daddy it's a holiday next Monday. This is Monday for the kids, so I'll be on a 4-day daddy duties. I might be able to sneak in a session if I have somebody could find a play date. If not, then oh well, time to be a dad. See you in a little bit. And we are back, guys, for our last reflection time of the week. So let's continue to finish off where we left off yesterday. Yesterday, what we said, one of the things I mentioned was we suffer because of separation, annihilation, and termination. So let's dive deeper into one of that, the concept of separation, right? We know we suffer when we incur a loss, right? But when we incur a loss, we get that sense of separation, right? When we're in a relationship and we break up, or when we lose money, or when we lose a loved one, there's a sense of loss, a sense of separation. And that separation causes suffering. But why does it cause it, right? Because it only causes it because we cling to something or we attach to something. And because of that clinging, when that something is gone, it still exists within our awareness. And we have that desire and that want for that thing, that object. So our mind is fixated on an object that we don't have. And because of that, we suffer. Whereas if we were to let go of things, right? When you let go of something, then what happens? You become easier and you no longer suffer because you're no longer clinging to it, you're no longer attached to it. And because of that, all those, you can say, negative thoughts and emotions are no longer there. Jealousy, envy, hatred, all those are no longer there because we no longer care about that thing anymore. So if we can see that once we cut off the string of attachment and clinging, it makes an end to suffering, then we could dive deeper and see that every time we suffer or we feel pain or something, we can look into it and see what are we attached to here? What are we clinging on here that is causing us? And can we cut that rope and detach ourselves? Because once we cut that rope, we make it into suffering. So let's go to the poker table, right? A bad player does not suffer as much as a good player, because a bad player has no attachments to his chips. He knows that he's going to lose it. So he has no perception of clinging or attachments to those chips. Whereas a winning player expects those chips to belong to him. And he expects to win. So when he lost, there's a suffer because there's an attachment to those chips. And of course the expectation also. So what we should have to start doing is to perceive things the way a fish does, right? We have to be, you can say, more impersonal, because when bad players play poker, they're playing the game to play the game. There's nothing personal. They don't take anything personal. Well, most of them don't. The fun players are. They don't take anything personal. It's just a string of events, right? A bad beat is a bad beat, a good beat. They're not out to get you. They don't hate you. But people do still take those things personally, because is their perception. But if we can perceive things as just a string of events, a hand being played, and the stuff that happens to us are just events and factuals and stuff that just played out. This hand of life that played out, or this hand. So, and we take a personal look at it, and we don't. When we take it in personal look at it, we don't create the conditions for the arising of negative emotions anymore. And because we don't think wrongly, we don't perceive wrongly, we're just the observer, right? We're just a railbird watching the game. We have no personal attachments to the game. So that's how we should try to perceive and watch everything at the poker table and in life. Because if we take things from a personal level, impersonal level, then nothing can affect us, right? It just things just hit us and drop off, hit us and drop off. We can't be phased because we know that this is not anything against us at all. So practice watching things from an impersonal level, because what it does, it allows you to then do is it allows you to start to perceive things from other people's perspective, right? Because that's what we need to do in order to then develop empathy, sympathy, and compassion. Because we will not have any empathy and compassion for anybody until we can perceive things from their point of view. And in life, throughout the days, we never do that. We don't care about what other people think. It's what about us. But at the poker table, we do care about what other people think. We want to know what they think, because that's how we beat the game, right? We want to understand the other person and everything. So if we could take that mindset and take it out in life, and we want to understand this person. We want to see what they see so that we can relate to them better, right? We could play with them now because we know what they know and what they see. So that helps us to eventually build compassion and empathy. And that's what we want to work towards, because that's another step to mental fitness, is the ability to let go of things, non-attachment, non-clinging, empathy, and compassion. That's what makes us human, and not compulsive, habitual, mechanical robots. Because at the end of the day, most of the things that do happen to us that we take personal are really actions that people do out of habits and compulsion, and it's really not with any intention. And if we could see that, then we can know we have more empathy and sympathy for them, and we have more understanding, and then of course we'll be able to handle situations differently. I think that's it. Maybe we'll do another segment to wrap up what happens tonight, or maybe not. It just depends on how things play out, because we're gonna try to push for really a lot of hours, because the games are pretty good right now. See ya tomorrow.